Hello, welcome to this video. My name's Dan, aka Lucent, and today I'm going to be sharing my 5 tips on how to write a song for beginners. And I think that everyone has the ability to write a song. I think some people say, oh, I just can't write music, blah, 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 blah. But I think if you want to write a song, then there's something in you telling you need to do it. I think there might just be a few things that are stopping you from doing it. Maybe there's writer's block, maybe you're lacking inspiration, and that's where this video comes in. So I'm going to be sharing my personal tips on how I think you can start writing music. So this is really a beginner's guide, like Songwriters 101. So before we get started, if you want to follow my creative process, I've just started a vlog. Basically the vlog will be following my creative process as I make my own music. If you want to actually check that I can actually write songs and that you should trust my advice, then feel free to go to my Spotify. I'll link it for you. I mean, you might listen to my music and be like, wow, okay, I'm not taking this guy's advice. This is rubbish, but hopefully not. So if you want to check out my music, yeah, I'll link it for you. So without any more distractions, these are my 5 beginners tips on how to write a song. Let's go. So first off, tip number 1. The best thing that you can do is to teach yourself how to listen. Let me explain what I mean by that. So at school, I did music technology as an A-level. One of the best things that they taught me were to just open my ears and listen to music more deeply. Actively participate in listening to music. I think the way to do this is just to kind of engage and start asking yourself questions like, what is this person trying to convey in their lyrics? What sounds can I hear in the background? Are there harmonies? What instruments can I hear? And I think after a while it will become more natural, and every single thing you'll listen to will inspire you. Suddenly you'll be actually taking in all the information from all the songs you're listening to, all the songs that you'll love, and you'll constantly be learning. And I think that that is a really important step into how to then create music yourself. You can only put out what you take in, and if you never actively listen to music, if you're never engaged in how that they're making the song and how they're making you feel a way, it will be difficult for you to then have a creative output. So tip number 2, write everything down. Everything. Write it all down. I have an app on my phone, it's called Evernote. Not a sponsored video. I'm not that important yet. Sometimes you'll be in the most mundane situation and you'll have a flash of inspiration and you need to capture it because it's almost like lightning in a bottle. It's very difficult to remember exactly what you thought. Like one time I woke up in the middle of the night still dreaming and I wrote down something. I looked at it the next day and it was, I'm just so tired of all the jewelry. And I'm like, where the hell did that come from? But it's kind of I don't know, it could, I haven't used it yet, but it might be a good lyric in the future, don't steal it. That's the thing, is that if you're kind of training yourself to write down everything, you'll be able to go through it afterwards and then kind of pick out the best bits. And that gives you an endless pool of inspiration. If you ever get stuck, you can go back into your notes and look for something. The good thing about that is you can also record little clips and things if you come up with a melody or anything. So that's my second tip, is just write everything down, because you never know what is going to be your next best hook or your next idea for a song. Tip number 3 is find inspiration everywhere. I think that a lot of people think that when you write pop music, you have to be inspired by other pop musicians. But I think that you can quite easily get into a rut and you can struggle to write when you're limiting yourself. I'll often listen to the music in movies and things and kind of pay attention to how the scoring of a movie is making me feel. If you're really struggling to think, what can I write about? Sometimes taking inspiration from the weirdest things can make amazing music. One of the best examples of this is the Beatles. So the story goes that the songs on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band were inspired by, they were reading a newspaper and were reading stories in a newspaper, and the different songs kind of came out of these stories. And that album is lauded as one of the most influential, one of the most popular, and one of the most amazing pop albums ever. If the Beatles had limited themselves to just being inspired by other musicians, then they wouldn't be the Beatles. So yeah, take inspiration from everything you see and everything you listen to. Okay, tip number 4 is don't force it. This is probably one of the most important tips for people who are stuck in a rut or don't know where to start. I think that a lot of people can kind of think I want to write a song, and then they sit down and try and write a song, but like often that's just not, it's not going to happen. As with all things creative, you've got to learn your own process, and you've got to just let it come to you. I think that's partly why writing everything down is important, is because like if you kind of open your mind creatively and just let it come to you, you need to be ready to act. There's so many different kinds of ways that people write music. If it's not working, then just like try a different way of inspiring yourself, rather than just being like, I need to write lyrics now. Like, why don't you try and make a brainstorm instead? Or if you are really struggling, then just forget about it. Honestly, like one of the best things that I learned as a songwriter was just to forget about it and to try and like switch off from it, and then suddenly something will happen, and it will kind of trigger those memories again, and then the inspiration will then come like 2 months later, and that's absolutely fine. Like sometimes these ideas take a while to gestate in your brain, and you got to let it happen. So yeah, so don't force it, just let it happen. Most of my best ideas have come to me in the middle of the night, but it's like, I think that goes to show that when you're like trying to relax and when you're trying to switch off, that's when things come to you. So I think, yeah, just relax, don't force it out, because creative things don't happen when you're trying to force it. Tip number 5, probably the most important tip, and that is just do it. Just do it. Just write it. Just write a song. It might be rubbish. It might be terrible, but that's okay. The thing is that no one is born a perfect songwriter. Practice makes perfect. You know, you're never going to learn anything unless you do it, and push to finish a song, because at different points along the way, you will learn new things. To start with, it's about learning about inspiration. Then you might learn about syntax and grammar and things that make the kind of poetry of lyric writing. And then on the next stage, when you're writing chords and melody, or whichever way around you want to do it, in that stage you'll then be learning about music and how to move people through music. So it's kind of, you've got to do the whole thing to learn, and that's kind of probably the key thing here, is that it's about learning. You'll get there, you just need to do it. And I think that like sometimes you can question yourself, saying like, is this good? No, I want to write something good. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to put it out until it's perfect. Having a perfectionist kind of ideal is great, but at the end of the day, you just have to do it, because you will get better along the way. And then once you've written like a whole bunch of songs, then you'll write Rolling in the Deep. Then you'll write Born This Way. Do you know what I mean? Do it, go. Now, do it now. So yeah, what are you waiting for? Go and write into the next hit song. Let me know in the comments if anyone has their own personal songwriting tips. Like, how did you get out of a rut? How did you inspire yourself to initially start making music? Because at the end of the day, making music can be such a like cathartic and brilliant thing for people to do. And the more that we all can share, the more that we can kind of help people to have that kind of amazing thing in their lives, you know. Make sure you share all of your personal tips and ideas in the comments, and I'll be really interested to learn from your ideas as well. Everyone is always learning, and we can always learn from what other people have to say. If you liked this video, then please make sure to give it a like, and consider subscribing to the channel if you liked that, because everything I do is about songwriting. Even like all my reaction videos, it's like my perspective is always like, you know, what do the lyrics mean? Like how did they write this song? Like, it's something that's just so inspiring for me, and that's what this whole channel's about. So yeah, make sure to subscribe for all of that kind of content. I'll see you for another video. Cheers. Bye.